All right, what is up, everybody? This is Alex once again for another fun-filled, educational, bombastic, over-the-top, what the hell was Wizards thinking episode of the EOT Newsflash. This is episode 65. They made Fetch happen because I love Mean Girls and because Fetchlands. All right, to get us kicked off tonight, I'm going to introduce my co-host. Directly beneath me, we have Mr. Justin Forkenrath. How are you tonight, sir?
I'm doing all right. Pretty excited about this set.
Yeah, right? It's so many cool commons.
Yeah.
I see the beard's coming back, so that's good, right? Won't tease you anymore about that one from last week. All right, we've also got returning Mr. Shawn Hughes. Busted Sleeves. How's it going, brother?
Pretty good. Glad to be back on after some busy couple weeks.
Hey, not a problem. We were a fearsome threesome tonight.
Yes, sir.
So, no tournaments. Damn it. There are no tournaments to talk about, even though we had GP, Utrecht, and none of that matters because on Monday. So last week we had the packaging for Modern Masters finally revealed. We got to see the Grizzlebrand, the theoretical Snapcaster art, Domri Rod, Soak Angel. And I was like, when are we getting spoilers? Well, they started off Monday. There was a little speculation, hesitation around the set, I would say. I was certainly skeptical about seeing what was going to come out of it, especially after seeing Modern Masters 2015. So I'm curious, before we really dig into these spoilers, what were your guys' sort of thoughts going into spoiler season? Were you as hyped as we clearly are now prior to day one of the spoilers?
Well, day one, I was saying, please give me fetches, please give me fetches, please give me fetches. And then day one, they gave us fetches.
Don't say anything yet. I want to spoil the surprise.
You mean like the episode title?
That's not the point. It's not on the screen yet. If you're watching this on YouTube, you'll be able to watch. You'll kind of follow us along as we just go bananas over these cards because this set is literally bananas. BANANAS. But yeah.
Okay, Gwen Stefani.
Don't hate. Don't hate.
But yeah, so after that, and then we kept getting good news.
Yes.
And that's all I'll say about it for now.
Definitely did. So Shawn, what were your kind of thoughts moving into, so before Monday rolled around, I know you're typically a pretty cynical guy when it comes to spoiler season. You want to get hyped, but you just can't. So what were your thoughts day one of this?
Coming into it, I expected them to print a couple good cards. I expected a few of the old staples to not show up, like your Goyfs and things like that. And I kind of expected them to try to up it a little bit above Modern Masters 2015 because that was extremely disappointing.
Yes.
I still have a box just sitting in my closet. But I was just like I didn't expect anything crazy because I mean we've pulled back on our modern support and our modern games and things like that. So I was kind of expecting it not to be a big deal until they showed that they cared about modern and then they were going to try on a Modern Masters set. They wanted to wait to make sure it was worth their time. So I expected a couple good cards, some good value. I didn't expect fetches, and I kind of hoped not to see fetches. I didn't expect a couple of the other things. I just hoped some cool mechanics so it'd be fun to play.
Yeah.
But that was about the extent of it. I didn't have high hopes. I wanted to just be enjoyable to play.
Yeah. I was working in the same camp. We were so let down by Modern Masters 2015. In my mind, WotC redeemed themselves with Eternal Masters, kind of learning the lessons of 15 and taking what they've learned from 13 and kind of fusing it into this really powerful limited set that had a lot of really good value. So I've never bought a lot of product of any of these master sets. And the fact that I've actually bought some of this, pre-ordered a lot of it, is very telling that I think this is going to be a great set. So I was not expecting anything other than the usual reprints and what we kind of assume, things like Liliana and Snapcaster Mage. But what they have done here, I think, is quite possibly the biggest home run that Wizards could have hit. And I cannot believe that we are 2 weeks away from getting to crack these packs open and just see what kind of stupid values in them.
I went from not remembering it was about to come out. Like, I honestly forgot it was, like, coming out. I was like, oh, that thing's coming up? It's probably going to suck. Like, it was either going to be a little bit of decent value and the worst limited environment ever, or it was going to be a really fun limited environment and it was going to be trash value.
Yeah.
My biggest hope was I was like, please just don't screw up half the mythics with dragons again. Just
Yeah.
please don't ruin half the mythics. But normally it's like either you get value or you get fun gameplay or you get neither, but you never get both. And so far it's looking like it's just a home run. It's the embodiment of everything I want.
Yeah, my biggest fear was them not being able to justify the $10 price point per pack. And unless the market really reacts to this set release in the most volatile way possible, I think you're pretty safe to say that you're going to crack a pack and you're gonna find some good value in there, both at the uncommon, the common, and the rare slot. Like the every level of rarity has got great cards in it, and I don't want to make people wait anymore, so we're gonna throw them up on the screen. The enemy Fetchlands have returned finally, and Cavern of Souls, because Mythic Spoiler can't put them all in the same row. Whatever. Misty Rainforest is. We'll just scroll down a little bit to show Misty Rainforest, so we're not forgetting about it, because Misty Rainforest is awesome. But this is insane. The enemy colored Fetchlands are back. They haven't been printed since original Zendikar. We saw them reprinted as Expeditions and Battle for Zendikar. But the one thing that I think everybody can unanimously agree on is that the most expensive part of Modern and the biggest prohibitive factor on Modern is the mana base. I remember paying $100 for Scalding Tarns. Granted, it was a lot of trade-ins, but still, $100. I'm not paying for Underground Seas here. I'm paying for Fetchlands. So, Justin, what are your thoughts on the return of the Fetchlands?
Well, I've been wanting to get Misty Rainforest and Arid Mesas for a while, and I just, since I have other decks to play, and I have Fetchlands that work in their place, Flooded Strands and Scalding Tarns, for Jeskai, and I've got the Windswept Teeths and Flooded Strands for Bant. I just couldn't I wasn't going to spend that kind of money on Arid Mesas and Misty Rainforest, even if they were probably going to improve the deck, some. But now with them being reprinted, they're going down in price already. Arid Mesa 6 months ago was $60. It's now sitting at $40. And I think I actually saw a number of them for $30 earlier today. So, I mean, if they stay at $30, that's a reasonable price.
Yeah.
I would like to see them go down to the cons prices, but I don't expect them to.
Nah, definitely not. Yeah, Shawn, you're shaking your head. I know that you dabble a lot more in the financial side of things than either of us do. I know you're trying to spec on breaking and entering right now, but we won't talk about that. What you're trying to do there. So, kind of, what are your thoughts on the return of the Fetchlands here?
I'm excited they're back. I do wish they would have been printed in a standard set. It's a headache for tournaments because of the time aspect.
Yeah.
But unless they break and they decide to do a second print run on this Modern Masters and they print it a little bit heavier than expected, the lands will dip slightly and then they'll probably level back out. Maybe $10, $15 less than what they were previously. They probably won't stay very low for very long.
Yeah.
That's the risk we run into, is that it's a temporary fix. And then it's going to go right back up a little bit.
Yeah.
So the upside is they are at regular rare, but it's not a regularly printed set. So it's not like you can just go buy a bunch of packs and open these lands.
Yeah.
So there's only so much of it added to the market. And whenever you have a set with this many things, a lot of people are going to be opening packs, and so they're going to be in situations where they're like, oh, I can almost finish this deck, and so you have a lot of people picking up these cards to finish decks that they've always been this close to finishing. So it doesn't actually flood the market.
Yeah.
And so I mean, they definitely are dipped. They're dipped down to the 30s and 40s. If you can get them below 30, that'll be sweet, and it'll be good to pick them up because they'll start ticking back up over time. Yeah. Unless they print a second run of it, like with Eternal Masters.
Yeah. Part of the reason that I get to play Jund and Obzon now in Modern is because of Modern Masters. I have Tarmogoyfs because of the set now. I have Dark Confidence because of the sets. So I'm very much in the same camp as you guys. Getting to build more decks, finish decks, improve decks. I'm right there with you, Shawn. People are going to pick up these cards. The demand is going to go up. The supply will go down. The price will go up. It's simple economics. I have read and heard that there's going to be a slightly larger print run than ever before on a Masters set. But I still don't think it's going to be to the level that it's going to make these things be a commodity like the cons fetches are, which were opened freaking gangbusters for 6 months.
If they end up upping, if it is at or higher than Eternal Masters print run, then these prices are going to go way down. Because the Eternal Masters print run was huge. Like they did a regular size print run, and then 6 months later, I think it was in December, they released more of the product. And so the prices on that stuff really went down, and the values of the boxes weren't as high, and that's because they weren't supposed to do that, and then they did that. So if that's the case and it is higher, that's going to be great. If it's like the first Modern Masters or even close to the first Modern Masters, it's not going to be huge impact.
I think Eternal Masters is a unique case simply because there's not a lot of people who are out there wanting to play Eternal formats. It was a great limited format, but I don't know people who were like scrambling to get their sets of Wastelands and Force of Wills. I got a couple of them just for value. But I think this is a different case in that people are going to want these a lot more than they wanted Eternal Masters.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing is, if the format becomes healthy again, and so it starts getting more support as far as tournaments, we might also see yet another price spike in these cards. So, like, keep in mind, these card prices are off of currently having minimum tournament support. Like, there's a couple GPs, there's the SCGs, there's no Pro Tours, there's only one PPTQ season. If they say the format's healthy and popular again and they roll it back into 2 PPTQ systems and 1 Pro Tour, the prices would tick up because interest is higher again.
And that happened every year when Modern was a PTQ format. Every spring usually the Fetchlands just went right back up. It was like clockwork essentially. But yeah, I think we can safely say that this was day one for us to see these. Cat vs. Souls was spoiled today, but seeing Fetchlands day one, I think solidified in a lot of our minds that if this was at the rare level, that we were all pretty confident that this was going to be a great set. And as the days rolled on, and even today we've seen, this set is going to be just chocked full of value. So would you guys like to look at some other valuable cards now?
Yes.
So we're gonna scroll up a little bit. You can kind of see what we're working with here as we go along. But I'm going to stop just shy of the top. And
Can you imagine, for just 1 second, just scrolling through these cards on a spoiler? Imagine doing a sealed with Modern Masters. You've got to cut down to 40 cards. All these cards I want to run. Like, it's not like a seal pool where you go like, well, that's trash, and you throw these cards to the side. Every single one of these cards is playable in some form of sealed formats. So like you're like, oh, I have to cut the worst of these really, really good cards.
I remember that Gen X and back in Texas was doing Eternal Mastered sealed box tournaments. I'm like, how the hell do you do that? Like, I've got 24 packs of the most powerful cards in the world, and you expect me to build a 40 card deck? No, I'm building the standard deck out of this. I'm building 60 cards. Screw that. Jesus. So here is we're not going to show the big money mythics. Well, the 4 big money and 1 just kind of meh. But here we have our first cycle of mythics here. We have a full suite of miracles. We have Entreat the Angels, Temporal Mastery, Bonfire of the Damned, Grizzlebrand, which we knew was coming back, and Craterhoof Behemoth. Thoughts on these guys? Just from these mythics alone, I was ready to get hyped about this set because these are some damn sweet cards.
Yeah, I mean, these are awesome. I mean, if you scroll down just a little bit to add in the other miracle that we have in the set.
Oh yeah, Terminus.
Terminus. It's like you have a good chunk of the miracles deck that wasn't printed in Eternal Masters, which is kind of sweet. And then, Grizzlebrand, he does things. I hate playing against him.
What doesn't Grizzlebrand do? He slices, he dices, he draws you cards, he gains you life. Love Grizzlebrand.
But yeah, I mean, these are all fun cards to play with. I mean, one of my favorite Magic memes comes from Bonfire of the Damned.
So, if you guys don't know what he's talking about, and it's funny because they actually gave Brian Kibler this card to spoil, and he's the person that Justin's referring to here. So, I believe it was at Worlds 2012. Does that sound about right to you guys?
Yeah.
And Kibler is on the U.S. national team with LSV and some other guy, and they're playing against Chinese Taipei, who actually ended up winning the game. And it's down to Kibler and their last opponent on the Chinese Taipei team. Kibler has been down the entire game, and he's got a 15-15 Olivia Voldaren who's about to kill him in one shot. Then he stabilizes the board. And his opponent picks up the card, turns it over, and lays the bonfire on the table and just kind of does this sort of, and that's how we do it kind of motion. And Kibler's face, LSV's face. I think Brian David Marshall's in the background, and some other R&D guys are all just like, "Oh fuck, what have we done?"
This episode is now PG-13.
Yeah, it's okay.
We can say it one time before it goes up.
X-rated, as far as I'm concerned. This set is extreme,
Okay.
explicit.
The two big guys, like, we need something for them to make them playable in the limited format. Like, you're not getting to 8 mana very often. Like, we're gonna need something. So some type of reanimation spell. The one I was hoping for, Gorill's Vengeance, has been eliminated, but like there's some other options, ways to cheat them into play. But it's still cool to see them because they're both high priced. Grizzlebrand got the GP promo, so he's not terrible. Craterhoof though was like, I think he's like a $25 card before they announced him. I own my one for this like elf deck that I got for really cheap. And I'm just like, man, this card doesn't deserve to be expensive. And it's just because he was only printed once in a set that was very unpopular. Like Avacyn Restored was not very popular, so not a lot of people opened it. So he's really money just because of the situation he was in, not because he's like this house of a card that everybody needs 4 of. So it's good to actually get another one of him out there. Like it's all cards that are relevant. Like we don't have a whiff up here at all.
Yeah, everything is even though it's like not the most expensive cards, like Bonfire is an absolute house unlimited. Miracling this thing will end games on the spot probably. And you're right about with Craterhoof Behemoth being released in a very unpopular set. Avacyn Restored probably one of the worst limited environments I've ever played in. So getting to see him reprinted here, fantastic. Like you say, he's a $25 card. Grizzlebrand, I think, is hovering around the $15 mark after the GP promo. But yeah, this is a pretty sweet, suite of mythics.
Out of our top 10 mythics, Bonfire is the only one that is not actively seen in a relatively competitive deck in one Eternal format. Yeah. And even that thing will occasionally show up in the Utopia Sprawl, Enchantment, Emrakul, Tooth and Nail deck. So like we don't have our Kamigawa dragons to ruin the top of the page.
Hey, I'm just saying I like the Kamigawa dragons, and like for a first test on Modern Masters 2013, I think that was a pretty cool way to kick things off, and they were good for limited, just not really good.
If it tells you anything, like those cards were awful to open. And that set was just fire, and this one doesn't whiff on any of those slots that they whiffed on with the Dragons for value, and it still looks like fire from a limited perspective. Like the set just like leveled up on everything it could level up on.
And I see what you did with Bonfire, the set straight fire, and I'm going to segue that into the row directly above these mythics as we kind of slowly roll into view. Holy crap. So
it's the RPTQ roll.
Yeah, right. If you're not watching this on YouTube, we currently have Linval, Keeper of Silence, Past in Flames, again, the set is fire, Snapcaster Mage is revealed as the box art, Liliana of the Veil returning to us finally, and Tarmogoyf. Literally, the card that in the review article for Wizards Day on the Mothership site, the card that changed the world. I don't know if I'd go that deep, but Jesus, like that right there is like Goyf $100, Liliana of the Veil $70, Snapcaster Mage $40. That's your box value right there. What the?
Linval is $45 right now.
Okay, sure. Well, I'm thinking like heavily played cards, but yeah, Linval is certainly an expensive piece of some of the Coco decks.
We had assumed, and I had assumed coming into it, that they're going to take a break from Goyf so they could stop undercutting Goyf owners. And it was also a situation where it's like, it looks like this set was going to be a lot of decent value, but there wasn't going to be the home run card because there wasn't a Goyf. And they were going to be like, because we gave you all these other good cards, we're not going to give you the triple digit. And then they like today were like, oh, by the way, we're gonna give you the chance for your friend to go, look, I opened $50, and you're still gonna be able to go, I double that, and just throw your card down.
So what we're gonna have again is Shawn's gonna open a Chrome box at a Eternal Masters PPTQ, and then Alex is gonna go, oh sweet, foil mana crypt.
Yeah, I opened Jace. You opened Jace foil mana crypt. That was great. I enjoyed that. That was a good day.
That was a great tournament, though. We had a lot of fun there. Yeah, check out the deck tech on that one over on the YouTube page. But yeah, Shawn's absolutely right here. It's like Snapcaster Liliana, we thought were going to be like the hallmark home run. This is the make or break card for your box.
Snapcaster, one of the multiple rarity shifts ups and downs.
Yeah, and I think it needs to be at a mythic rarity. I mean,
he's mythic power, and he's also really not that great in a limited format.
Yeah, he certainly isn't.
And he was a rare in Innistrad, so he's not as needed of a card.
Yeah, exactly. But to throw Tarmogoyf here is just like, okay, so I like all week, once we saw that Craterhoof was being spoiled, we were trying to figure out what is our green mythic card. And we were thinking at that point we had seen every monocolor mythic was either a creature or a spell. And so we were kind of, I guess, thinking that it was going to be a mythic green spell. And we couldn't think of anything other than like a Garruk or, Tree of Redemption or something like that, stupid like that. Primetime Titan, but not Tarmogoyf. Like, oh, Jesus. I'm at a loss for words here. I own my set, but I'm going to have more of them now.
I'm excited for within one or two more Modern Masters, I'm going to be able to get 4 crisp $10 bills and buy a playset of Goyfs. Let's keep it rolling. Just give me my $10 Goyfs. That's what we're doing. All right? I'm not going to buy the Goyf at this price. I'll buy it at 1/10 of its normal price.
Okay, Shawn. Keep dreaming the dream, man. I mean, this set is literally a dream, so I'm assuming that your dream is not that improbable either. Yeah. So that's fine.
I've said for years a set like this is actually impossible. So obviously anything's possible. I was like, Wizards is never going to actually give a crap about us and do anything nice. It's always going to be, here's your bone, now chew on it, and then boom.
Yeah. It's like, enjoy your Tarmogoyf from the past one. And they're just like, okay, thanks, guys.
I feel less bad about losing player rewards right now. Like officially, I hadn't forgiven those guys for years, and I've officially forgiven them for player rewards.
I don't think I've seen Shawn this happy since the Jeering Homunculus art was spoiled from Conspiracy 2.
Oh, that's
right. Like even my Homunculus Patronus is smiling right now. Life is good.
Yeah. Shawn has not said one negative thing this whole episode so far.
I keep scrolling trying to figure out what I'm going to complain about, and I'm struggling.
Oh god.
So let's click. I'm gonna before we I know we each have a couple cards we want to talk about, and I don't want to dig into the entire spoiler just yet. I'm gonna try and put together a full set review. I don't know if you guys will be available to help me with that, but I would love to do like a card by card, break them down, rate them out, and really dig into what are these cards are, maybe some of the history behind them.
From the look of the format, people are going to want to like do a lot of planning about how to play the format. This format's going to be crazy.
Yeah. And really quickly, I want to touch on, because day one of the spoilers, when they revealed the Fetchlands and they talked about the format in general, they revealed to us sort of the overall strategy behind the set. So it is a very much a multicolored set. We're seeing a lot of cards from Return to Ravnica getting spoiled. But one of the things that they were very keen to point out were the 5 archetypes. So, and they're all ally color archetypes. So blue-white is like this flyer blinky deck. Blue-black is this instant speed counter magic kill deck, which is strange because that's never worked before really in a limited format unless you give us really good cards like what they've already shown us. Red-black is going to be an unearthed deck, the mechanic from the Alara block. Red-green is a more go-wide kind of beat-down strategy, and green-white is going to be this populate token-based deck from like the Return to Ravnica mechanic. So that's where they're focusing a lot of their attention and kind of building our archetypes. But they have supplied us with enough mana fixing. And Shawn, I'm going to throw this one to you here to kind of talk about what we're seeing here. I'm going to scroll down a little bit to talk about the mana fixing that's actually available in this set. And I'm going to start. Do you want to start with the signets, or you just want to go for the lands first?
I want to throw something in before we talk about lands, just real quick.
Cool. Yeah.
They also did a good job of making the archetypes overlap so that you can go multicolored and still be within a particular strategy instead of just being like 3-color good stuff.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to touch on here. So, did you want to do lands or signets first here, Shawn?
Or we can start with the lands because that's what we saw the most of first.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So the mana fixing in this set is unparalleled to anything I've ever seen, which is amazing because, like in Khan's block, you could early pick the come into play tapped dual lands and the come into play tapped tri-lands that fixed mana and just go all over the place because there's a tricolored set. You could go 4-color and you could do a lot of crazy things. And this has like more mana than that. Like it's got the full 10 come into play tapped lands. It's got the 5 fetch lands at regular rare, and it's got the full 5 tri lands that tap for the Alara block tries. The only thing with this headache, so the only thing that could be a complaint with the headache and is kind of a risk, is there's so much mana fixing in this that we did an episode previously about getting better at drafting and about paying attention to reading colors. This is not a good time to practice reading colors. Like, this is not a good time to practice that. You don't want to, like, after the tournament, be like, what color did you go? Because your people at your table are going to all go, all of them, like, doing everything. And
I picked a bomb in every pack, and I picked the lands to fix that, and then I just picked cards in between. I don't even know what color. Everyone's playing Prismatic 5 colors. It's fine.
The set just seems absolutely insane. We have signets at uncommon, we have tri-lands at uncommon, we have dual lands at common, we have fetch lands at rare. So you're going to be able to, like, draft these, but you don't have to draft them as early as in previous sets like cons, because the signets added an extra kick. So in cons, you really had this lands to fix it, and the other things weren't quite as effective at fixing mana. These guys having the signets to fix make it insane, because we actually have mana generation, not mana fixing out of the signets. So they are better pickups than the lands. But if you're still not sure what you're doing, you almost want to stay open in your card selection, because colors might suddenly start drying up whenever people do crazy things, and you'll be able to pick up color fixing later whenever sets previously like this you won't be able to. It's kind of crazy. You have 15 uncommon mana fixers, and you have 10 common mana fixers. It's just, and there's still a slot for a Shimming Grotto to come up.
Sure.
So the mana in this format looks like it's gonna be crazy, but it's also gonna make drafting very, very difficult. Like, you can't really try to read your table as much. You really want to keep trying to draft best card available, and then make it work as best you can. And when you're stuck in a tie, take a mana fix. And don't take don't, like, turn away a mana fix early in the draft because you're like, oh well, I don't have a card of that color, because you might get pushed into that color pretty soon.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a weird situation where mana fixing is going to be your go-to pick when you don't have a great clean pick, because things are going to be swaying back and forth. It's going to be crazy. Drafting the set's going to be crazy.
I definitely I agree with the crazy aspect, and I think it could almost be a negative if things kind of happen the way that I predict they might. Because I remember drafting Dragon's Maze and most of RTR block, and when you drafted Dragon's Maze, that set had all of the guild gates in it. You know, previously Gatecrash and RTR only had, I think, one in every pack and replaced with a basic land, if I'm not mistaken. But when you have an entire pack that could have, like, I was opening packs that had upwards of 3 guild gates in it. So kind of my worry is, you know, you can open up a pack and have a couple guild gates, potentially a tap land, one of the tri-lands, and also one of the signets as well. And so, like, that's a potential to have quite a bit of mana fixing per pack. So it really, I think if you dedicate your picks to the mana fixing, you might end up in a position where those are the only cards that we're good enough to take, but then you lack a number of quality playables to go with them. So you're absolutely right, Shawn, I think, about trying to balance what you take and when. So I think it's going to be a very delicate balancing act of trying to
And part of the risk is, like, so a lot of these lands are coming into play tap. The signets are coming into play, and you can't activate them on turn 2 the turn you play them. And so in a format where everybody's going to be hopping around colors, it's going to be really hard to set down on something. Being proactive is your best option. You don't want to be reactive, because you're going to be able to punish whoever's taking all these tap lands and signets. And you want to be able to punish all the people who are trying to take these cool mid-range ideas and then their colors got cut out from under them. If your concept is always like, how am I smashing you? Then it doesn't matter if a color gets cut underneath and you switch to another color. If you maintain the same concept of, I'm going to this color and I'm still trying to smash you, like, it doesn't really matter. So there's going to be very real times where you draft the land deck and you get killed because all your lands are tapped. Or you draft the aggro deck and you kill somebody because all their lands are tapped. And there's a lot of tapped lands in this set.
I do want to point out really quickly that if you think you can just go ham on these lands, and obviously you can just die because of the point that Shawn just made there, I do want to point out that both Blood Moon and Stony Silence are in this set, and so help you. I won't have any pity for you if you go like, all right, tap land, go, and there's like, all right, Blood Moon, you're dead. Or you have all these signatures, you're like, yeah, I'm going to do some sweet mana rip, like Stony Silence. Jesus.
It's unlikely Stony Silence is playable currently. It's like one of the only non-playables, but
exactly. But it's still, you know,
there's also Molten Rain. So if you go like 5 color
Molten Rain,
and game 2 your opponent goes, oh, that color is important, Pop, you might just get hosed.
It's like, that was your one black source for your black bomb? Oh, that's really awkward. Sorry.
Yeah. Like, Blood Moon's rare. Molten Rain's uncommon. You might get Molten Rain sometimes.
Yeah.
So you gotta be really careful. Like, 5-color decks are gonna be really fun until you play Molten Rain, and then you're gonna be like, oh, this isn't the best idea.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to go ahead and make a bet with you guys right now, and I've scrolled to it on the screen, and I'm sure you guys can see it at home if you're listening along. How many people do you think are going to take Azorius Signet thinking it's Celestia Signet? Just on the art alone.
God.
Hold on, let me scroll to this thing and look at it.
Like,
how bad is this?
Unless you know the insignias for the guilds, like, by heart, I will guarantee you that you'll look at Azorius Signet and go, oh, sweet, it's a green-white Signet. I'll take this for my deck.
It really looks like a green-white card.
Boy.
This is why you don't look at pictures. This is why you don't look at pictures.
It's pretty new art. I think these are the arts from the cubes, actually, from online. But this is pretty egregious. I want to know who made this mistake and put a little bit of blue in there. Like, there's not a single shade of blue in this art.
Even the Golgari looks kind of Gruulish, and the Boros looks kind of like Orzhov-ish. Like, they're all kind of like, their colors aren't super balanced on a couple of these.
But I mean, at least the colors are somewhat readable, though. Like, you can tell, like, there's it's predominantly black and green on the Golgari one. The Boros one is mostly red and white. The Orzhov one is obviously Orzhov. But this Azorius Signet is
actually green.
Yeah, it's just green. I don't
because whenever you water a garden, it grows. Alex, calm down.
Right.
So we can cast this Rox Warmonk with this Bant deck.
Yes. That's the correct answer. You win, Shawn. You win the draft.
Yeah, I'm going to kill you with this Rhino that collects coins that are far too large to carry. That's the goal.
If we've learned anything from video games, is that large coins can be picked up by anybody. By plumbers, by hedgehogs if they're ring-shaped.
There we go.
I mean, it's don't count the guy out. He's on point here. So
give me some Exalted, and I'll kill some people with some Rox Warmonks.
I wish we had Exalted in this set. Like, give me some Rafika the Mini. Ugh.
No, give me a Finest Hour. That card was gas.
That card was busted.
Yeah.
So we could probably rant and rave about all of these ridiculous cards, and we're gonna actually do just that. We're gonna rant and rave about some more cards. So we're gonna go around the table, the virtual table here. Justin, I'm gonna go to you first. We're just gonna do one card at a time. Each have about 4 cards or so that we want to talk about. So Justin, I'm gonna go to you first. Like, what is a card that you are either excited to play with, excited to see reprinted, or just like out of your mind? What the hell were they thinking when they printed this card for us?
My first one's gonna be the new Serum Visions art.
Ooh. Let me scroll up to it for those people playing along at home. There it is. Next to Inquisition of Kozilek and Might of Ulcrosa and Stony Silence. God, this set's stupid.
So,
Holy cow.
You're scrolling through somebody's trade binder is all you're doing. And normally when we have a set like this, there's like a couple good cards, and then you're scrolling through somebody's bulk box. This is like we're scrolling through a trade binder. Like that's all it really is.
Yeah, usually these sets look like my trade binder, full of 50-cent rares, not $4 uncommons.
Our trade like profiteers are just sitting there like real grumpy right now. They've absorbed my grumpiness for me for a little bit of time.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So what do you like about Serum Visions here, Steve?
Okay. So first off, so for those that don't know the lore, recently Mirrodin and Phyrexian went to war with each other, and Mirrodin lost. Serum Visions was a Mirrodin card, and now we see it shifted over to a new Phyrexia card. We have the Blue Praetor Jin Gitaxias.
I don't think
drugged
that's Gitaxis right there. He's too small. It might be. I could be wrong here.
Go look him up. It looks a lot like him.
I see the similarity, but I know a lot of the blue Phyrexians looked very similar to each other. So it could be. I don't know.
And maybe it's not him, but anyways, just like the art and the flavor text are just perfect for what happened in Mirrodin. Also, Serum Visions is the best cantrip in Modern. I love playing it. I play Delver, and I'm seriously considering getting 4 foil copies of this because it looks so pretty.
Approximately $1 million each.
Considering.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. If it costs too much, I will stick with my my Brazzers copies.
Which are the better copy.
Which are, but this is a family show, despite my F-bomb earlier. I apologize for that.
I'm not going into detail. I'm just saying there's really pretty shiny pastels in that one.
All right, okay. So before we... Shawn, what are you excited to play with?
I'm excited.
Excited about pretty much.
I'm excited by this uncommon triple colored cycle. I started in Zendikar block, so this I said this earlier. Like this set is just the history of me beginning and casually playing the game and learning to love it, into when I first started getting serious about it, which would be around the Mirrodin block and the RTR. Mm-hmm. And so we get Rox War Monk, the 3/4 lifelinker for 3. We get the 4/4 flying artifact creature for 4 in the Esper colors. Grixis gives us a 3/2 for 3 with flying. The one where it deals combat damage, the player discards a card. Sodraxis Spectre, that card is always awesome, and it has Unearth.
Yep. And it was
Jund gets Sprouting
from rare, actually.
Yeah, it was a rare, and I remember just hating that card when I played against it. Sprouting Thurnax is a Jund 3 mana 3/3. That when it dies, you get 3/1/1s. So it's just like 6 power for 3 mana.
Yeah.
And Woolly Thoktar is 3 mana for a 5/4. So it's Naya Beatdown. So it's just like
5/4.
Yeah, it's these 3. It's the Tri-Shards of Alara with some like crazy good value plays. They're at uncommon, so you're not seeing too many of them. So if you're in those colors, you want to take them, but you're also not getting flooded with those as options whenever you're not in those colors, because it is leaning towards a 2-color set when you use splash thirds. Yep. But with the mana fixing so nice, whenever you get one of these cards, if it's in 1 or 2 of your colors, you can get into the other colors for it.
Yeah.
Sodraxis Spectre could just take over a game. Like he's probably the most snowball effect out of the cards. Although playing Woolly Thoktar on 3 whenever you're on the play and your opponent is going to play a series of tap lands soon, your 5/4 is going to crush that player. Like, it's just sweet. It's so unfortunate that our Dark Wolf's 4.
I mean...
you terminate it, maybe, if you're lucky.
Bone splinters it?
There's actually plenty of options.
Yeah, like, there are.
Steel spells are sick in this format.
Being facetious, obviously.
Yeah,
Path.
Yeah.
They put Path in this set. Jesus.
You get there's a ton of kill options, but he still has to be killed, and he's probably not like your bomb pick. He was just a card you picked up along the way, so you're like, this is fine. And then like realistically, you could be 4 colors, and so you go Woolly Thoktar, and they go, well, I'm kill.deck, and they kill it, and they go, okay, Sprouting Thurnax, are you still kill.deck? Do you want to kill this thing?
Yeah.
Because I get these 1/1s, and I still have all these bodies, like.
I cannot wait to go to town somebody with Sprouting Thrynax. I love Sprouting Thrynax.
Yeah,
and, like
Thrynax and Spectre, the 2 most powerful, but Rox War Monk, I loved that card when I started. My first deck I ever brewed was Bant Control, and it was Rafika the Mini, Noble Hierarch, Baneslayer Angel, Finest Hour, Rox Warmok, Jessian Infiltrator, and it was Kasali Pride Mage. So I had all these Exalted triggers, and I had Finest Hour, and then I would play the beginning versions of it before I put Baneslayer Angel. I would Sleep, which taps everything and and doesn't untap the next untap step, and then you'd play a Stoic Angel. Yeah. And so you just freeze your opponent out of the game, and then you just get these Exalted triggers and kill your opponent with Rox Warmonk and gaining a ton of life. Like, you would just swing the game out of nowhere.
Build your own stasis deck.
It was standard stasis, and it wasn't phenomenal. It beat the old Fairies deck, because my friend had that deck sleeved, but because of Bant Charm, you could beat that deck all the time.
Yeah.
It was great.
I would have like, I know we've only got Izzet Charm spoiled so far, but I would love to see either the Alara or the Ravnica charms come back. Because like some of those shard charms are absolutely awesome. Like Esper Charm, Grixis Charm, like I love a lot of those cards. Super powerful.
I would love to see the Alara charms. I don't think they can do that and the Alara Uncommon Creatures. I think it was one or the other. But it would be sweet.
Yeah.
Those cards were great. I loved those cards. Esper Charm was gas, Bant Charm was gas. Like, they were all awesome.
Yeah. I'm just scrolling through and just showing off, and I'm actually going to go one of the cards I'm most excited to play with, and that is probably one of the sickest cards I've ever cast in my life, and that's Cruel Ultimatum. Probably the most difficult spell to cast ever. 2 blue, 3 black, 2 red. Target opponent sacrifices a creature, discards 3 cards, loses 5 life, and then you return a creature card from your graveyard back to your hand, preferably a Snapcaster Mage, draw 3 cards, and gain 5 life. I will first pick this, and I will ride to victory. This card is dumb.
You get so flushed like a Southern Jezebel whenever you look at Cruel Ultimatum. And yet you won't come play Dark Imitations in Standard with me? I don't understand. I don't get it, Alex.
I don't have a Bolus Planeswalker to cast right now.
You get Cruel Ultimatum in Standard again. Come on, Alex. Once
I get a Bolus Planeswalker to cast with my Dark Imitations, I might be back.
All right. We've got a door open. You can play Torrential Gearhulk. You can play the Smashing Snapcaster Mage.
Don't tempt me. Like...
That thing casts Metallic Rebuke together. It's real good.
I know it does, but this is Cruel Ultimatum. A card that you like. So I won't go into too much detail, but we were talking about this thing called the Thump test during our work day, and the amount of.
I can't talk about Serum Visions, but you can talk about our testing schematic.
I'm not just from what the Thump test actually is, but it's just how much of a thump this card creates when you play it. And between this and like Bonfire of the Damned, I can't think of a bigger thump card in this entire set. Just utter.
I remember first reading Cruel Ultimatum and being like, "Oh, this card's really good, but the mana's so high, and like you're not losing everything, so it's probably not the worst." And then my opponent casted it against me one time, and I kind of go, "I'm gonna learn about this game because I don't think I fully understand how things work." And that was when I resoundingly went, time to grow. We are going to become a better player.
So it's a sacrifice a creature, 3 cards, 5 life. It's a 5-for-1. This card is so good.
Discard 3 cards.
Yeah. Ugh. Draw 3 cards. It's oh god, it's such a recall. It's a super mind rot. It's a life gain. Oh god. All right. Before I just get gushing too much, Justin, what else are you excited to play with?
I'll go with Burning Tree Emissary.
Good old BTE. Downshifted from uncommon to common for all you pauper players out there. Screw this card.
I'm going to draft the hell out of this card because just what Shawn was talking about with getting to just punish people for drafting a million tap lands and signets and whatnot. Just be like, Burning Tree Emissary, another 2-drop. Go in, get wrecked.
Just like that.
Yeah. Or Burning Tree Emissary Signet, or or on turn 3, Burning Tree Emissary followed by the Naya.
Thoktar.
Yeah, Thoktar. Woolly Thoktar.
Oh, hell, go Sprouting Thrynax.
Or Sprouting Thrynax.
Or Fiery Justice, your opponent's board.
Oh my god. Fiery Justice is in this set too. Holy crap.
The Signets made BTE way better.
Yeah. There's just so much you can do with this. I mean, this is a very aggressive creature, which is which is funny because it's a 2-mana 2/2, which that's not a very aggressive stats, but you throw in free mana and suddenly it's fantastic.
Yeah,
it's not unrealistic to go turn 1 Basilisk Caller, turn 2 Burning Tree Emissary, equip Basilisk Caller.
Yeah.
2/2 lifelink Death Touch. Are you gonna attack me with your Woolly Thoktar? I don't think you will.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, that's great.
Golly.
3 mana is always good.
3 mana is great. What about you, Shawn? What else you got for us that you're excited to play with?
The only card to be block banned since I've been playing the games that I know of was Intangible Virtue.
Let's go find Intangible Virtue.
Giving tokens +1/+1, that sounds okay. Giving them +1/+1 in Vigilance, that's kind of stupid. And you know what it goes really, really well with? Cards like Lingering Souls.
Which is in this set!
Oh, is it real? Oh my goodness, the cards that got banned, the card that got banned because the other card, it's crazy. Why they surely want to do that. And then also on top of it, imagine for a second with me, if not only can you play these 1/1s that are now 2/2s with Vigilance and Flying, but you could pay 3 mana for a 1/1 that makes a 4/4. Such as a Golem. That would be really stupid, right?
All the Splicers are back as well.
And the Splicers are Golem tokens, and you have Goblin tokens, and Intangible Virtue is probably going to get banned in limited Modern Masters.
Oh god, it goes with Goblin Assault.
It goes with Goblin Assault. These Goblins attack and don't get tapped. This is great. Like, Intangible Virtue is one of those cards that, like, is normally overlooked by a lot of players who haven't played with it, but it's just, Vigilance is not very good and constructed, and limited Vigilance is crazy.
Yeah.
Especially Vigilance in a format, and, like, when it's giving Vigilance to cards that are designed to fly and evade, and are designed to be value because you're getting multiple bodies. It's really crazy, because it's like, I hit you for 4 with my Spirit tokens, I chump your guy. I hit you with my Spirit tokens, I chump your guy. And so you're just like slowly wearing your opponent out of the game.
Yeah.
The blue-white flying deck is gonna fight over these Lingering Souls and these Blade Splicers with the green-white deck, and then they're gonna miss Raven people, and they're gonna just run people out of the game, and it's gonna be sweet. Yeah, and you get Path in that color. Like, Intangible Virtue was absurd and was broken and was banned in the set it came out in, and now it's in a more powerful set. So unless the other it's possible the other cards are just so powerful it's not so noticeable. This is a whole set of all-stars, but that card can be a real takeover.
Yeah, it definitely can, and we're focusing on block constructed. Back, it was initial block constructed back when that was actually still a thing. We don't play block constructed anymore, and literally every deck that was doing well on the online leagues and the paper tournaments started out with 4 Lingering Souls, 4 Intangible Virtue, goes from there. Just that's all it was. Which led to I think it was just Souls that got banned, or was it both of them?
No, it's just Virtue got banned.
Is this Virtue? Okay, yeah, that makes more sense then. Yeah, this card is absurd.
Yeah, and the thing is, it isn't. So it's important to view this set as not a limited set. It's just a snapshot of Modern as a format.
Yeah.
So, like, the card isn't banned in Modern. It's not going to be an issue in this in Limited as much. Yeah. But you are, I mean, if you play enough Limited Modern Masters, if you can find enough product to play with it, or if somebody builds a cube out of it, you're going to lose to Intangible Virtues a few times, and you're going to say, that card was printed with this other card. That's crazy.
Yeah,
it's going to happen.
Absolutely. And once you put it in Modern and you combine with other Anthem effects like Honor the Pure and Hero Bladehold and Gideon Champion of Zendikar, and you play with some Lingering Souls and some Raise the Alarms, you see how powerful this card can get, and it just gets out of control very, very quickly.
5 mana for 4 1/1 flyers that you can pay over time is really, really good.
Yeah.
And then now you have this Anthem that makes it 5 mana for 8 power of flyers that you pay over time, and they have Vigilance. Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. If you go back and look at the development files of Dark Ascension, which is where these cards were printed originally, before they printed it, Lingering Souls was black to flash it back. And they thought that Midnight Haunting, which was an instant speed version of Lingering Souls without the flashback, wasn't good enough, and so they did this. And they're like, really, guys?
Yeah. In Block Constructed, you ran a couple Midnight Hauntings with your Intangible Virtue, your Lingering Souls.
Because you just do these things.
And then you would also run Feeling of Dread to tap down your opponent's teams and tempo them out with these like Vigilant Flying Spirits. That I've never liked Block Constructed. That Block Constructed was pretty sweet.
Yeah. But then, the deck that wins the whole Pro Tour is the blue-white Miracle deck. It's just like, I'm going to Devastation Tide all your tokens. Problem solved.
Yeah, Alexander Hayne, that deck was nuts.
Yeah.
I fell in love with Feeling of Dread. He played Feeling of Dread, and he played this other tapping spell that wasn't as good, and he said the reason he played it was because he wanted Feeling of Dread's 5 through 8. And at first I laughed, and then I cast a Feeling of Dread in practice that week, and I go, oh, this is not a joke. We're being serious.
Feeling of Dread is already Feeling of Dread's 5 through 8, because it flashes it back. It's already 8 copies of itself, and that card's just nuts.
Yeah. It's my favorite Pauper Cube card, probably.
Oh, card's super good. So we're going to pivot a little bit here, going from a busted, uncommon, grindy value card to the ultimate in grindy value card, Sphinx's Revelation. So I know Shawn's cast this. I've probably cast this 1,000 times. Justin, have you ever cast a Sphinx's Revelation before?
I have cast it 4 times, all in limited environments.
Cool. Yeah, something about this. So this was between this and Bonfire of the Damned, back in RTR Standard, this was the single most powerful card next to Bonfire, spell-wise at least. It was a very common adage to just say, the first Revelation pulls you back into the game, because you're probably a little bit behind, it draws 2 cards, gains some life. The second Revelation, which you probably drew off the first Revelation, turns the corner. The third Revelation, which you obviously drew off of the second Revelation, completely shuts the door on the game for your opponent, and they're just screwed, because you probably resolved Jace, Architect of Thought, and Supreme Verdict and Detention Spheres, and they're just like, well, my board's completely gone, and this is not any fun anymore, and God, this card
Sphinx's Revelation Control was one of the most insane standard decks I've ever played.
And
The first time,
Ring, just God, this deck was
dude. There was decks with no win cons. No win cons.
Yeah.
I would
Elixir of
Sphinx
Immortality.
Revelation and Elixir of Immortality until you drew one. You hate Lantern Control? That thing mills you at least 2 or 3 a turn. This card was literally, you draw 1 card a turn, and I'll just keep cycling my deck with Elixir of Immortality until you've drawn all your cards, and you die. Like, it's literally 1 card a turn. Okay, we got 5-turn rule, and you drew your last card. Let's go to game 2. Like, that's how that deck was nuts. And Sphinx Revelation, when it first came out, it came out right after Blue Sun Zenith, and I was like, oh, I'm not sure if this card's that great. It's probably okay. And I played a midnight release, and my opponent in round 1 cast Sphinx's Revelation against me at the midnight release, and he cast it for like 6. And I look at my hand, and I look at the board, and I go, wait 1 second. And I pulled out my phone, and I ordered 4 for $4 a pop right there. Like, in the middle of the match, I was like, you're going to have to wait a minute. Yeah. And I just check out, add these 4, and I go,
really quickly
please continue. And then he, like, plays a threat, and I just scoop up immediately. I'm like, all right, that was easy. Done.
Now, was it X equals 6 or just overall 6, so X is 3?
His X was 6. And I was like, check out. Let me buy these. And then they went up to like 20, 25.
Yeah,
like,
this card was absolutely absurd. It was nowhere as expensive as Bonfire was, which was about $50. But this card was just, it was everywhere. I mean, they took Blue Sun Zenith, which was the exact same cost, but it was triple blue, and it shuffled it back into your library when you cast it. Put a Healing Salve on it for X, and it just completely broke a format. Like, this card just did stupid things. And occasionally pops into my Modern Control decks.
I've cast it in Modern once or twice. It's pretty sweet when the format's slow.
I got to resolve it against Affinity at a side event at GP Houston. And it was kind of awkward because I didn't have the double blue mana to cast it. And so I cast it for 3 and realized, oh, wait, I can't actually cast that. And my opponent was like, wait, was that a... I was like, what? It's like, was that a... Like, no. Like, yeah, it was. I'm like, nothing. Drew my land, found my second blue source. I'm like, okay, cool. He passes, like, the board's completely stalled, completely cleared out. He's got nothing in his hand. And I'm like, okay, now I'm going to cast it for 1 more. And he's like, really? I was like, yeah. Gain 4, draw 4. Oh, my God, this card is so dumb.
And it's an instant. It was sweet. Like, it's really good against, like, Jund whenever you're on, like, Esper or Jeskai.
Yeah.
And you're both in top deck mode because you're a control deck. I cast this thing a few times in Tiny Leaders. Yeah. Yeah, that's 3 mana as a CMC. That X is just an illusion.
Yeah.
Woo, that was fun.
0 is a placeholder in all math anyway. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. This is
an educational podcast. All right. We could probably gush on Revelation all night. We're going to do an entire episode on Revelation. I'll write a book on Revelation. You know, there's a book out there on Gush. Stephen Bemindi, fantastic vintage player, wrote a book on Gush. I'm going to write the Revelation book.
Did he really?
Yeah, he wrote a book on Gush.
Like on how to cast it and all the things about it?
How to cast the Gush Bond engine. Yeah, check it. It's a 12-chapter book.
It's a 12-chapter book on Gush. It's draw a couple cards for nothing to win.
But
what are you...
When to play it? Do you bounce your lands? Do you play it with fast bond too? Like, I've read a couple pieces of it, and it's brilliant. Like, I've read Patrick Chapin's Magic books. This puts it to... I won't say shame, but the fact that he wrote a 12-chapter book on a freaking card. Chapin wrote a 300-page book on all of Magic.
I feel like you've been brainwashed currently. Like, those middle chapters are just, like, text to wipe your mind. Because there's no way you wrote 12 chapters on Gush.
Just saying.
Like, the card's great, but that's one regular card.
I'm just saying.
It's all not right, even like a power... whatever. This world is real. You've already said it. This world's fucked, so it doesn't matter. I'll believe you. You said it once. I'll say it once. We'll just call it.
All right, Justin. What else are you excited to play with?
Well, it's not a good card, but it's not a bad card that I'm about to talk about. That's Zur the Enchanter.
It's a bad right now in the context of the set.
He's an EDH king.
He's an EDH king.
He is that.
Every now and then you will see Esper Zur come out in Modern, and it's fantastic and glorious, and it makes me want to build the deck every time I see the list show up somewhere.
And then throw it out.
I'm no, not that much. It's not an ally. But Zur the Enchanter, he's a 4-mana Esper +1. Flying, whenever he attacks, you get to look through your deck and put an enchantment into play, 3 CMC or less. And he's a 1/4. So He survives the bolt test.
The decay test.
And the decay, yeah, he does pass the decay test. The only thing about him right now is that we haven't seen any auras show up in the spoilers, which I'm assuming we're going to get some. We still have some rares to see. We still have quite a few commons and uncommons to see. He's either going to be completely useless or he's going to be fire.
You know what I want to see them print for this set, because it's only been printed once? Vampiric Link. 1 mana, one black enchantment, gives a creature lifelink.
That would be fantastic. One of those lovely Planar Chaos cards.
Yeah, because
there's a Planar Chaos card that we actually haven't talked about.
We'll wrap the episode with that, because that one's it's in the background of the YouTube videos. If you're watching that, you already know what it is. So it's Damnation. They're printing Damnation again.
Zer's a dangerous card. Anytime Magic says so it takes a while to learn. When you're learning the game, you learn instant's the most dangerous word, and then you're like, no, draw cards is the most dangerous word. No. But then you eventually learn that search through any area is maybe the most dangerous. Search through any area and do that for free is the most dangerous. Search, find this enchantment. Enchantments traditionally suck, but whenever you get to go just pick and choose, that's totally different. That's.
Yeah. Let me just slap down the Steel of the Godhead. Let me just slap down this sideboard card. Let me just...
No, you just slap down Runed Halos, you slap down Declaration of Knots, you're like, I'm just naming cards you can't cast. It's... Oh, gosh.
Yeah, that's typically what Zer does in Modern. He's very much a toolbox enchantment deck. So you play your Geist of St. Traps, your Steel of the Godhead, and then you just go and get whatever random silver bullet enchantment you want. This game's over. Problem solved.
Yeah, he's that what's the white spell that you get at search for enchantments instead of drawing cards and play them? Enduring Ideal. He's a realistic Enduring Ideal.
Yeah. Although I have lost to an Enduring Ideal deck in Modern. I was not proud of that moment. It was at a very janky tournament. My opponent had resolved several Lotus Blooms and then cast it and then went and got Dovescape.
That happened to me at Madness. What was that tournament? It was a Modern tournament. Regionals, most recently.
I think when we were doing we were bringing up our no Modern ban list gauntlet, I think Matt was wanting to do Enduring Ideal there.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
I'd never heard of that card. So I was like, okay, so the worst he can do here is play another Ghost Quarter or Safety Sphere or something along those lines. I have enough mana to deal with it. Tap out to play to attack and put him down to 2 life. And then he throws down this Enduring Ideal, and I can't counter it despite having a counter spell in my hand. As the Delver player, I felt so stupid.
And then he has Paradox Haze, has 2 upkeeps, and then he's got Dovescape out, and just everything goes to shit when that card comes down.
Yeah.
The card is, you can lose to it, but man, it feels awful. It feels real awful.
There's only 5 cards that actually have the epic keyword on them, which basically says when you cast this spell, every upkeep will resolve the spell again, but you can cast no more spells the rest of the game.
Yeah, you don't draw cards, you don't cast spells, you just do this.
Yeah, one makes snakes, one makes... I don't know what the rest of them do, actually.
The white one's the only good one.
Yeah, the only playable one, exactly, yeah. All right, let's move on from epic cards to more epic cards. Shawn, was there any more that you wanted to touch on before we kind of wrap up the night?
Oh no, I'm still in information overload. Yeah, I'm still in information overload. Inquisition codes coming back, rare shifted down, sweet. There's just so much cool stuff in this set.
Yeah. So I'm gonna forgo the ones I picked out. I was about Augur of Bolas and Raider Vias, but I want to touch on some of the ones that are just really exciting to talk about briefly before we close out the night. Going back to that Mythic lineup here, we've got Olivia Valderin, Voice of Resurgence, Domri Rod.
Voice is sweet.
Voice is sweet. I was surprised because there was an art that was released with it before the actual one got leaked. That was a little bit more, not so abstract. That was a little bit more, I guess, realistic. I thought, which I thought was a little bit cooler. But Voice is Voice. That card has made of my existence when it was in Standard. Let's see. We have Path to Exile. We got talking about Lingering Souls, Compulsive Research with sweet new art, Mist Raven, the best blue common from Avacyn Restored, bounce all your stuff. What else have we got? Oh yeah, Damnation.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the story behind Damnation here is that they've tried to reprint this card like 6 times in the past 4 years. It was in Magic 2015. It was in From the Vault Annihilation. It was in Modern Masters 2015. But they put Bitter Blossom in there as well, and they were thinking, we might not want to do that. But we finally have a Damnation reprint with wonderful, perfectly centered flavor, rules text on there, which is great. Of course, Blood Moon's here too to ruin everybody's day. We have Scavenging Ooze. This set is just dollar bills.
I would love to see Crucible still, but like Blood Moon 6, Scavenging Ooze, Goblin Guide was very needed. Very needed. I need one more, and I personally actually really like this art. I like the pastel coloring to it and stuff.
Yeah.
There's the arts that they did new arts for are pretty sweet. I like a lot of their new arts.
Yeah, I don't think there's a new art that I don't like. Now, there's some where the original art is better, but I don't think there's any bad new arts, personally.
Yeah, I'm not too high on the Sunny Silence art, but it's still kind of evocative. The Mono Crosa art is fantastic. I think it's funny that we're sticking with the new Inquisition of Kozilek art, which is to make the ones that I actually want to pay the old ones actually reasonable to buy. Seances here to troll the internet, I guess.
Yeah, there's a couple cards that got buyouts, like Basilisk Collar and Seance, that like they get to just undercut them.
Yeah.
Missing out on Mishra's Bauble is really disappointing.
Yeah, which has been I think you shouldn't sort of picture Shawn was spiking to $45 a copy for unfoils.
Yeah. Its mid is like 50 currently because the moment people saw it as mathematically eliminated, they bought it out.
Yeah.
And so Mishra's Bauble has spiked to like $45-50.
I have to wonder if maybe because I know they have to start building this set way in advance.
Yeah, it's been probably production for about. I know they do standard sets for 7 years ahead of time, so I would say it's probably somewhere around 2 or 3, if I had to guess.
Yeah, so I mean that's
probably less than that.
So that would have been when Death Shadows was on the rise. The Mishra's Baubles were still fairly cheap.
Yeah. Because they started spiking around GP Oklahoma City, that Zach Elsick one with Lantern Control. Because I remember that Patrick Chapin and some of his teammates were playing this Teamer Prowess deck that leaned on it pretty heavily.
Well, no, the last Modern Masters that came out, Mishra's Baubles were still in the 10 to 15 range.
Yeah.
Because I remember getting a good deal on them for less than that, and then selling them for that amount. Mm-hmm. And then they've steadily climbed since, and it was only recently where they had a buyout that spiked it. But I would love to know when they actually do the set design because I think it's pretty close to recent. Yeah. I think they give it a year because it's not like they're designing new mechanics, so it doesn't take as long to design. They're just picking cards.
Yeah, that's a really good point actually, and I'm forgetting the guy's name off the top of my. But if you guys can think of that, but the guy who is behind the overall design of the set. Adam Prozac. There we go. He was a former Magic professional player, and they brought him on, and he's been designing the cubes for Moto a lot recently. So I think the experience that he got from doing that job let him do this job, and he was like, what would I think would be the best version of the modern cube, effectively, and gave us this. And he's just up to the plate. Pointed and just went yard on it. I cannot imagine. We've only got 104 out of 249 cards spoiled. We should have the entire set spoiled by tomorrow, about 11 o'clock Eastern time, 10 p.m. Central. It's going to be, but I can't imagine them adding any more value to this set than they already have. There's a handful of rares. I think we have all our mythics spoiled. Olivia was the last one that was spoiled today, along with Tarmogoyf. But just home runs, strikes, slam dunk, hole in one, hat trick. I'm running out of sports metaphors here.
If they do Crucible, this is just done. If they do Crucible, it's just insane.
Yeah.
The set, and it looks super fun. Yeah, Chalice could be because Chalice also just got printed. I think. The set just looks really, really cool, and it looks. I definitely, now that you've explained that he was a cube guy, it just looks like a cube set. And it looks like you realistically just skimming it. Out of just half the set. You're going to be able to draft this set 5 times and never have very similar decks. Like, it's going to be really different every time, and the decks you
Yeah. Yeah, I liken this very much to Innistrad before Adversary Sword came out. It was just Innistrad Dark Ascension. I must have even though I was a relatively new player, I must have drafted that set 15 times in the span that it was available to draft, because the LGS I was playing at was only doing drafts every the last Friday of every month. I would draft it in between there. And a lot of people that I've talked to and listened to on podcasts and interviews from around that time have talked about the fact that they never discounted a card and said this isn't playable in a deck. And I think that there is a home for every one of these cards. Maybe some of them like Limvala is like the part of that blue-white flowers, like it's very obvious what she's good for. But just every card in here has got a place for it, and I think that's really, really cool and the mark of a really well-designed set. Like I mentioned, the commons are great. The uncommons are fantastic, which we really missed out last time. Getting Path, Serum Visions. Maybe we'll get a Bolt reprint here. I don't know. Seeing Inquisition get reprinted. This is all the things that a modern Master set needs to be. And it's that simple. It's that simple. So...
It's gonna be really hard playing Limited to like accurately be like, how well does my deck stack up? It's gonna be really hard to do.
Yeah, no, definitely true. I can just imagine, because like a lot of players that I drafted down here don't draft a whole lot. Just having them like, what am I even doing here? I've got this busted rare, but there's this really good uncommon removal spell, and I think this is not the set to be learn how to draft, like you've said, Shawn. But it's like it's like they gave you all the crayons in the box, and they were like, all right, don't take the 8 count box, take the 64, the 128 box, and just go nuts with it. Draw whatever the hell you want, and this is what we came up with.
I think you're going to have a lot of new kids crying in corners going, I don't know what to do.
Yeah. Or you're going to have, the kid who cracks the full Tarmogoyf like this guy did on it. And just lose their mind. Like, it's going to be a cool experience to see people draft this who aren't familiar with these cards, who get to see just the raw power of some of these. Like, we saw it with Eternal Masters, but this is like I think this is better than Eternal Masters so far. I don't know what you guys think.
It looks better, and it looks actually more powerful than Eternal Masters. Like, it's... Yeah. The thing is, the set just... I don't know, it just looks so strong, and... The thing is, at first I was like, all right, so it's going to be really hard because you're not going to be able to read colors, but also all the cards are so good that as long as you can tell what your deck wants to do, you should have a decent deck. Like, you might not be super powerful, but you're also not going to be out of games either.
Yeah.
Because, like, your cards are just powerful.
Yeah,
like,
and
unless you misbuild your deck where you can't... Things you're playing should be good.
Yeah, and I think it's good that they have, because typically you can play pretty much any color combination. Drafting Aether Revolt, Kaladesh, you can play any combination of colors, and it's pretty much all things playable. I think the fact that they are limiting, that they've kind of said there are 5 distinct archetypes in this set, and there's going to be enough playables to go around. 2 players can be in blue-black, 2 players can be in red-black, or whatever it's going to be. And then you have these options that go a little bit deeper, 3-color support, 4-color support if you want to go that direction, and really test yourself as a drafter. It might be a little bit on rails because of them saying, here are 5 archetypes, draft these 5 archetypes. But the people who can go off the rails and really read the set and go, all right, I've got the mana fixing, I'm in blue-white, but I've got these red cards as well, I can do a lot of really cool things. I think by the time that its shelf life is over and we're on to something else, when it's out of print, obviously, we are going to see just the quality of decks go from about here to somewhere up here, and the best drafters at your local game stores will absolutely crush with this set.
Yeah. That's fair.
And that's what I'm going to say about this set's going to be bonkers. So much fun.
Yeah. So it's going to be a real blast.
Yeah. I will say that I'm probably going to do a couple of pack openings on the channel, so that'll be kind of fun to watch. You can actually freak out in real time when I crack something stupid, or freak out when I crack, trash. So be on the lookout for that. So, yeah, I'm going to crack the foil seance and I'm going to put it on my wall or something. It's going to be great. I'll send it to Zach, actually. I'll do that. or I'll light it on fire, like the guy was doing on Reddit. So yeah, like you said, the full set will be up tomorrow. If you haven't already and you're even remotely curious about pre-ordering it, I would say go and do it now. Most stores are already well above MSRP on their pre-order prices. If your game store is drafting this set, sign up for drafts, draft the crap out of this. Just play what is probably, in my mind, the best Magic set that they have released since I started playing again.
Yeah, definitely.
Bold claim, but I think this is it.
I think it's an accurate claim.
Yep. So, woo!
Yay!
Yeah. So, yeah, cool. I want to say big thanks to my two co-hosts for tonight, Shawn and Justin. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys.
It was fun.
Steven's not here to give us our usual send-off of let's do it again, but we'll do it again next week.
Something, do it again.
Yeah. I'm going to try and do the set review, so if you guys are available to do some set reviews with me, that would be great. I'm going to be traveling for work next week, so it might be kind of difficult to do that, but I'm sure we can find some time to get that all knocked out and really dig into these cards. Check us out over on Facebook at the EOT Newsflash. Find us on Twitter at EOT Newsflash. You can find Shawn at Busted Sleeves on Twitter. Justin, you're Justin at Twitter, I guess. Check us out over on the YouTube, where all the recent video episodes are being uploaded every week. And, of course, check us out every week on the MTG Cast, where you can listen to other great shows like Monday Night Magic and a lot of other cool ones that I've been listening to in my downtime at work. So, yeah. Big thanks for coming on tonight, guys, and we will talk to you all next week. Good night, everybody.
It was fun.
See ya.